So how does going from owning a house, your dream home, turn into a disaster? Well, tonight I'm going to cover that. I'm going to get to that. But this show here is all about the Jacksonville metro housing market. It's a weekly show. It's the unique show up here in Northeast Florida. I'm going to be covering all that stuff for you in the 9 counties up here in the Jacksonville metro area. In fact, I take you into the back end of my MLS account because I'm just a regular guy who happens to be a real estate agent up here, and I do have an MLS account, and I'm going to show you all this in my MLS account tonight. I'm going to show you the active listings, which is the inventory. We're going to look and see how many are active under contract. Since this is a weekly show, I'm going to look and see how many are sold in the last 7 days, how many went pending in the last 7 days. Also look at those new homes and much, much more. You know what? I take all this data from there, from the MLS, and I download it into and export it into an Excel spreadsheet, which looks something like this. Now, this is a big mess and a lot of numbers to try to digest, so I convert it into my own Excel spreadsheet, which looks more like this. Now, while all those numbers are crunching down and going into those Excel spreadsheets, let's take a look and see what those rates did this last week. All right, here we are looking at the rates here at Mortgage News Daily. Now, again, remember, we did lose a day for New Year's, and so that does have a little bit of effect on these dates that we're going to see here. And all these charts, whether this is the 30-year fixed or FHA or VA, we're all starting here at the bottom where we left off here, and where the last was at 7.1%. Over here we see the column of the arrows of what happened during the week, whether the rates went up or down. And then over here are the dates. Okay, so we see we've got some red arrows, green arrows, and no arrows. Okay, so we end up at 7.07. Okay, so that is slightly less than where we were before. Okay, here we look at the FHA, same thing, we were at 6.44% and ended up at 6.39, okay? Arrows up and down, so we did drop a little bit less than where we were before. And our VA rates here, same thing, mixed of arrows up and down. We were at 6.45, now at 6.41, so a slight decrease. So, but we see that those interest rates, they stayed up there above 7%. So they're stubborn. That's where it's going to be right now. So when are they coming down? Well, that's what we're going to be watching. But now let's go take a look at those Excel sheets I was telling you about. All right, here we are into my Excel spreadsheets, and for those of you that are new to Bubble Watch Nation, I go through a brief explanation how it is, and those that are already regulars, you know, and you can just move past it. Now, here in this column right here, this is our current week right there, Season 3, Week 34. It's in yellow, okay, right here. Now, these other yellow columns are the previous 2 weeks right there, okay? Now, over here next to the yellow column is a white column, and that is the previous year. So you can see this was Season 2 at Week 34. And what's so nice about my charts, you just look, you can compare them side by side, easy right there. Now, YOY, that stands for year-over-year percentage of change. So you can see the change there from last year. Say, for example, this first one, the inventory here, active, was 31.93% increase from last year at this time. SFH is just where I break down the single-family homes. I take their numbers out by themselves since they are the largest group of purchasers, and I just show that just you know, just to show it, that's all. Now, we're going to start off with here. Now, this column here shows what all those statuses are. So as you can see, the first one's active, second one's sold in 1 week, active under contract, pending in 1 week, and all. Because this is a weekly show, these are weekly numbers. Okay, so let's start off. The first one here is active listings, 8,913. We see that's a big drop from the last couple of weeks. I'll explain that in just a second, why that's happening, okay? Now, we look here at the sold 1 week, 529. Now that's a pretty good jump, okay? Pretty good increase there. And you can see it's, you know, a lot increased from last year at this time. Active under contract, 784. Now these are ones that are under contract, but they do have contingencies. And those contingencies usually are something like inspections, financing, you know, people have to get a house sold, appraisals, things like that. Once those contingencies clear, then they go into what is called pending status. status. So we look here, how many went into pending status in the last week? 211. This total under contract is both of those numbers added up, and we see that's 995 total under contract. Withdrawn this week. These are homes that are active listings but cannot be shown. They have been pulled from the showing schedule. Sometimes it's because somebody's sick in the house. They don't want to drag people through and get them sick. Other times people are working from home and the schedule just doesn't allow it. Okay, that number is 52. Expired in the last week. Look at this, 668, a whopping increase from the previous weeks. Why is that? Because a lot of contracts expire on December 31st, okay? They just do. Now, with that many expiring, that's why you have that big drop in your active listings. They are no longer on the market, okay? They were taken off the market, they didn't sell, okay? Now, if you happen to be one of these people whose home did not sell and it came off the market and you want to try something different and get your house on YouTube, then contact me and I'll do a video for your house and put it on my YouTube channels. Next here we look at new homes sold, and we see a good increase there, 210. New homes active inventory, 2,130, dropped a little bit, and we would expect that because we had the increase in sales and the builders probably aren't building as fast as they were. Now here in the orange, this is the percentages homes sold that are new homes out of all these homes sold. So you could see there, we're almost 40% of all the homes sold were new construction, okay? Now, I know there's some people that don't even know that I can help them with buying new construction, and I can. So if you're looking at new construction before you talk to the builder, definitely get with me. And I do have an offer for you when I meet with you and we look at these new homes. Okay, a lot of reasons for new homes. They've offered a lot of year-end incentives. People are having issues with insurance with used homes, and the new homes, you don't have that problem. And of course, you can see over there on the side is the single-family homes, so you can pause the video to take a look at those numbers and compare them with the others. Now, something to keep in mind too, this chart goes all the way back to when I started this show back there in May of 2022. So if you would like to have this, it is available as a download from my weekly newsletter, which comes out every Tuesday. And all you got to do is send an email to this email address. Say you want to be put on the newsletter, I'll do it, and you'll be able to download this from that newsletter. Okay, how did people pay for these homes? All right, well, we see the cash has been dropping a little bit, okay? And right there, cash, this is the percentage of homes sold that were cash, 21.36%, conventional 43.48, FHA 17.58, VA at 15.31, and others jumped up 2.27. And I would expect that others to jump up when we see these rates staying stubbornly, you know, in the sevens, okay? These numbers below show the actual units sold. We see there we had a total of 529 units sold, and we see we had 113 were cash, 230 were conventional, 93 FHA, 81 VA, and 12 were other. Now, why is the cash down? Has it been because some investors are pulling back right now? Yeah, well, we're going to see. That's why we do this every week, and we just track it. Okay, when I exported all that stuff from the MLS, we got the foreclosure numbers. Okay, now these foreclosure numbers here are homes that are active listings that are statused as foreclosures, okay? Pre-foreclosures and short sales, okay? They're not the total for the whole Northeast Florida, Jacksonville metro area, okay? They are the ones that are active listings for sale that you can buy. All right, we see here that we dropped a couple to 140 for closures, 19 for pre-foreclosures, and short sales dropped to 40 for a total of 199. So we haven't seen those numbers since week 27. This is where I take a look at the percentage of homes that sold under list, at list, and above list. Okay, we see that number that sold below list price. Now this is the original list price, okay, not what they worked it down to. So from the original list price, 78% of the homes sold below that. 11.34 sold at the list price, and still 10% sold above. And you know, I'm going to mention this again because I mention it every week because I get new people watching the show every week, that homes above list isn't as dramatic as you may think what it was in the past when there was that feeding frenzy. A lot of people are bumping up to get concessions back. Concessions to either pay the buyer's agent or concessions to pay closing costs or prepaids. And you'll see, I'm going to show in a chart coming up here, stay with me, I'm going to show how much over that list price these homes sold for. And you can see some of them aren't that much over, but they still trigger the numbers here. Again, these numbers below are the units that sold at those prices. Next, I break down price categories to percentage sold in price categories. And we can see here, homes that sold for $500,000 and above. That's right, 500,000 is $500,000. Okay, over 1/4 of all the homes sold. Okay, and that is our winner. Okay, this week. Homes that sold in the 400 range, 16%. Homes that sold in the 300 range, okay, just over 23.5. Homes that sold in the 200 is second place here at 24.39, and homes that sold below 200 under 10%. Okay, a lot of times you see those 200s now. Those homes in the 200s, that includes manufactured homes too, and a lot of townhomes. Below here are those units sold at those price categories. Okay, so the numbers were pretty good for the new this week for sold, so let's see how they worked out with their percentages. Okay, homes that sold under list, 3/4 of all homes, new construction homes sold under list price. Homes that sold at list, 10% of them, and homes that sold above list, 14.76. And you know, those that are bumped up like that, they already give concessions and deals. So those that sold above list, what happens is sometimes these new homes go in the MLS on the market when they're just breaking ground, and some of them just before they even pour the slab. Okay, so they've been on the market a while, and the builders watch the market, and if the market has increased, which it has, then they'll increase the price of some of these homes in maybe a more desirable community. Again, below are the units sold at those percentages. Okay, here is where I show you the difference, okay, and what was sold. Okay, now this first one here, now what we look at, we look and see what it is. In this column here, we see whether it's a townhome, single family, you know, condominium, so forth. Then the original list price is right here. Then the closed price, that's the sold price, and the difference, okay, how much difference was it? Now these with the minus sign are below the original list price. When we get down, I'm going to scroll and show you how many sold it with zero difference, and that's the list price, and then the ones that went above list price, and I'll show you what I was talking about, you know, as far as that concession goes. Now this first one, there are always a couple of errors, and this one, obviously, there wasn't a difference of $2 million. A $2.5 million house did not sell for $200,000. Another agent error when they input this, okay, and they put in too many zeros, that really probably was $259,000 for the original list, and then 200. So it does qualify for going down in price. All right, so I'm just going to scroll this through, and you can pause the video if you want to stop on any particular part of it as we work our way down, but you see all those differences, okay, in those below list price, and a lot of them are pretty substantial. And then of course you're seeing, you know, the total price of the house that's sold, and some of those percentages are pretty high compared to the price of the house sold. So we'll just scoot on down, and we got quite a few, okay. Everyone's below list, all right, that original list. And of course, you know, days on the market, you know, can affect it too. You know, that's something, maybe I'll throw in a days on the market in there, maybe next week. Let's see, to look at that so you can get a better idea. All right, here we are down at the zero. So you can see those, and those are the ones that sold at the list price. And then as we scroll, these are the ones above. You know, see $1, $10, $100, you know, 500,000, 2,000. See, all that could be the concessions easily, because, you know, the concessions really, you know, I mean, you know, anywhere from a few thousand up, those closing costs, okay, or your fees to the buying broker. And then as we look and we'll see, we start to get a little higher, and then there's a big jump there from 33,000 to 100,000 in those concessions. Well, not concessions, I mean the price of the over list price. I don't know if they went for concessions or not. Some could be multiple offer situations. Okay, this is the next thing I have started doing, where I pick out one zip code, and as you can see on this map here is the zip code that is for 32204, and this was sent in by one of the viewers. Okay, I do one a week, and if I have multiple zip codes requested, then I'll show it the next week, you know, and so forth. But I just do one a week. So this week I picked out 32204, and you see on this map where that is in relationship to Jacksonville. And then also you can see this particular one is showing the homes that are for sale. And in this case, this particular zip code did not have any sales this last week, so we don't have the information for that. So here is where I show you the chart of the what's for sale, so you get an idea, and you see over here what it is, whether it's a single family, condominium, townhouse, so forth, the original list price, and then what the current list price is. So you can see, as if for this first example, the original was 600, and now they've dropped it to 549. Days on the market. Okay, this is how long it's been on the market. This first one, 407 days. All right, I would have thought it would have dropped more than that. Oh, you know, that's over a year. And we're all here in Jacksonville, Duval County. There's our zip code, of course. Living area, this is the square footage of that house. The year built is obvious what that is. And then I showed the bedrooms, okay? You know, total bedrooms, total bathrooms. Then we did break down those bathrooms by full bathrooms in half. Over here is your list price per square foot, okay? What it is currently listed for. And if they put it in, the real estate agent puts it in, I'll show it here, the lot size in acres, okay? Because you might have something that's a lot of money, but it has on 10, 20 acres, okay? And then over here is whether it's new construction or not, and yes for new construction and for no. I'm gonna go ahead and scroll this too, and then you can pause that as you see fit. All right, the next thing I show real quickly is because there is an interest in the condominium market here, because we do see a big problem in Florida with this. Actually here, you know, I mean, we're in 2025 now, so this new law took effect. Units where the total complex is 3 stories and above, and ages of 30 years or older, and most of them 25 years or older on the coast, or if the county deems it appropriate for 25 years, have to keep these reserve funds, and they've been tacking on and these for repairs and stuff. That was after that big collapse down in South Florida. Now, a lot of these are HOA fee increases or assessments, and some of these people have hit by assessments 10, 20, 30,000 or more that they got to come up with in a couple of months. Well, now they've got to have them, okay? And these HOA fees, we can see fees that have doubled and increased, which is causing people to sell. We haven't seen a lot of it up here in North Florida, but I give you the stats here. This Excel spreadsheet is very similar with some differences we'll go through. I'm going to just quickly go through because, you know, it's about the same kind of information, and you can pause the video to look at it. As you can see here, this is the stuff showing the active listings, sold, active under contract, and so forth for the condominiums. And what's interesting at the bottom, it's like it looked like, you know, 3 of these new condos dropped off the listings, but they didn't show up as sold. So I don't know what happened. Maybe they just expired. The listings may have just expired and were caught in between. So next week they may show back up. All right, how do people pay for these condominiums? Okay, 64% cash. Okay, 24% conventional, no FHA. You know, one VA brought it at 4%, others at 8%. These numbers below show the actual units. Okay, there was only 25 units sold, so that's what you've got there. Now, cash a lot of times is greater with condominiums, okay? Because with the condominiums, the lenders look at everybody that's in that condominium complex as far as if they're delinquent in taxes or HOA fees, and they have certain parameters that if a certain percentage are delinquent in those fees, then they will not finance that building. Okay, anyone. I don't care if you've got an 800 score and you've got 50% down. A lot of lenders, they've got their rules and they won't. Now some may bend and break, not all, but this is why you'll generally see a higher cash percentage than with regular sales. Again, I look at their foreclosure numbers too, and these were the same as last week, so it's probably the same units. Okay, I also look at under list, at list, and above list for the condominiums too. We see none of them sold above list and only one sold at list. And there's your percentages, how it works out. As we look at the price points of these units, we see here the same thing. $500,000 and above, the 400s, 300s, 200s, and below 200s. Those are the percentages they worked out, and below are the units actually sold. Again, nothing new in the new, so we move on. Okay, here is where I look. Because the complex says 3 stories and above is affected by this new law, I look and just see, was there a trend where more people were buying condos that were under 3 stories? We haven't seen that, but I still track it just in case it changes. And what you're seeing here is there's 3 units that are in 1 story totally complex. Now these aren't the unit that's 1 or 2 stories. This is the complex, okay? So it's 1 story, 2, and 3 as you see there on the side, and then the actual units sold. Okay, and because we're looking at the age of these units, okay, so we're over here is, now these are individual units, okay? So this first one here is 1 unit that was built in 1996. It would fall under that age category. Pretty close, depending on where it's at, but it was a 1 story though, so it wouldn't matter, okay, because it's less than 3. So I'm showing these individual units. All those you see, like multiple 1996, those are 2 different units, and the total stories. I'm going to scroll that and you could stop that. Okay, these are the counties where these condominiums were sold. You see Duval County had the largest, St. John's at 6, Nassau 1, others 2. That other is what's going to happen is there are people that are members of the Northeast Florida MLS, which is this board that I'm showing you this data from, but they are selling in a different county somewhere else in the state. A lot of them are down around Daytona, Volusia County. Okay, and then I show the same thing here where I show the difference, how much below the list price it sold for. And this one here actually showed the original list price, what they reduced it to, and then what they sold it for. Now that difference is the difference between the sold price and the original list price. And I'm going to go ahead and scroll this for you too, and you can pause it as you'd like. All right, now if you like the way I put this show together, when I put all those numbers, I'm not talking about if you like the numbers, but if you like the way I present it for you, give me a thumbs up. And if you want to be part of Bubble Watch Nation, just hit that subscribe button. All right, next I'm going to go into what is called MLS Advantage. This is where I look at all these other MLS boards up here in this 9-county metro area of the Jacksonville Metro and look at their sales numbers and look at the big picture. So when I put all that together, I also break it down by counties for you, so we see where those sales are in each county. I also weekly look at the median prices of the sold homes and the price per square foot of the sold homes. I'm going to give you that data also. All right, so let's now go look at MLS Advantage. All right, here we are into the MLS Advantage section. And what we're going to do is look down here for these 9 counties: Baker, Union, Bradford, Clay, Nassau, Duval, St. John's, Flagler, and Putnam. Then what I do is I hit the search button here. All right, now we look and break it down by counties, and you can see here we've got Baker had 2, Union had 0, Bradford had 4, Clay County dropped to 38 this week. Nassau jumped up to 72. Duval County also had an increase to 275. St. John's with an increase 197. Flagler just dropped 1 to 97. And in Putnam County almost doubled their numbers from last week to 13 for our total of 698. Now look at that. And what's nice about this chart here, you can see the last couple of weeks. So see, this was a pretty good increase. All right, here's where I take a look at those median prices. Now this is the median sold price and for the house, and then the median sold price per the square foot. Okay, so we start off with the single families there, and we see the median price this week was $392,509,000. $202 a square foot. The townhomes came in at $282,745 for the price of the home. The square footage was $197, and the condos sold for a median price of $245,000 at a square footage of $199. And remember, this is weekly, so if you want to track that monthly, well, we've just scooted over and you can look at the other weeks and then average them out if you'd like, but I show it every week. All right, and just remember, I am a licensed real estate agent here in the state of Florida, so if you're looking to have someone help you with buying or selling a home, then just put me in the mix or give me a call at this number below or this email, and of course you can text me also. So now what we're going to do is take a look at what I was talking about in the beginning of the show. How does a dream house turn into a disaster? And I'm talking about it usually happens in 6 months, it could be a year, and this is what's actually happening to some people, not everybody, but some. You go to buy a house, you get your dream house, especially if you're a first-time home buyer or your income's limited and you got to be those monthly payments. Now remember, your monthly payment is going to be your principal and interest plus your insurance and taxes. The problem here in Florida right now is the insurance issue. We've seen people get insurance, get a binder on it, they close on the house. 3 months after they've closed on the house, they get a cancellation notice from their insurance company for something, whatever. Now they got to shop for it. If they got to go to Citizens, which is the state-run insurance, or some others, they can actually have an increase in premiums that could amount to $500 a month or more than what they had budgeted for. So think about it. You just got your dream house. You're in it. But because of the insurance mess here in Florida, now you're pushed out. And if you can't make those payments, now you'll start falling behind. You got to get rid of your house. This is where it's a disaster. Folks, it's happening. It's real. And it's something you have to account for. That's why when you're looking at these new homes, you don't, now they do have increases in insurance, but not as much as some of these used homes. And I don't care if you've got a used home that they've completely redone it, you're still going to have problems like this. Hey, you know what? Giving you a lot of information. Hey, if you just want to talk real estate, give me a call anytime. But right now, this is 34 and it's in the can. And until the next video, I'm out of here.